Hey there, fellas. I don't even know what to say here. So I've taken a close look at this here photo. And I've even watched a certain video showcasing a trick bicycle wheel. I think they call it soft wheel or something else along those lines. Anyway, check this out. As you can plainly see, I've got myself a bunch of gas struts right here, which I suggest we use to make a wheel for a car. Okay, so we're gonna try and fit as many gas struts as we can. Since, as you can imagine, a car is considerably heavier than a bike, even when you factor in the weight of the person riding it. Our makeshift wheel is going to be under some serious load. We're going to be using that picture I just showed you as a reference point for making something of our own. Curious to see how it handles dampening and all of that. Let's do this. Making a wheel on gas struts. Translation and voiceover by BMI Russian. Okay guys, here's what we're looking at. So we obviously weren't going to use just 3 struts, we decided to go with 6. So at first we tried to fit them using the standard plastic ends, which you secure to a tiny ball joint. Though we knew from the very start that plastic has its limits, and that became all the more apparent once it all started to fall apart. We solved that problem by welding on some nuts, which we've attached to a few bolts. It looks... that should be okay. I say we bring the car down and have a look to see how they rotate, and how all of this behaves, I guess. Go ahead, man, don't be afraid. Right. I guess that looks about right. Seems to work okay. They're compressing. Of course they are. Look at that. How long before the rim becomes round? Looks like that's not gonna happen. The lower end is shaped like an oval. That one just compressed all the way, once the rim got bent out of shape. We need some reinforcement. We really have to figure out what we can do here, or maybe we just leave it like this. Hit out and have some fun. Right guys, we'll be back with you in just a minute. And here we are. You guys saw that the rim was a bit soft. It was made using some really thin metal, so that's no surprise. Check out what the guys have done to make it a bit more durable. They've gone ahead and welded on some rebar. Now we seem to be looking pretty good. We've got plenty of rigidity. So now all of the dampening should be done by just the struts. They're gonna allow the wheel to compress a bit. All that's left to do now is hop into the car, fire it up, and go for a drive to see how well all of this works. Let's do it. Is this thing ready? I'm pretty sure it is. Let's have a go.
No. No.
Come on now. Move it, let's go. I think I can feel the wheels sort of settling. As if I drove it into a pothole or something. I thought the ride was supposed to be soft. Oh, I see. Turns out that the guy screwed up with the welding. But no worries. At least we're moving. That's nice. What the? Okay, this isn't ideal. The tire is rubbing against the wheel arch. Right, now we drive forward. So dusty. Seems to be jumping around. Then again, not really. It's not that bad. It's cool that we don't need to go far to find a bumpy road. What's that sound coming from back there? Okay, something seems to be sliding. What on earth can that be? Now I hear something clattering. I'm guessing that the rubber has shed itself off. Then again, we did do a good job securing that rubber. We are confidently progressing, though we are only using first gear. No issues so far. It's going over these bumps with no trouble at all. This is nice. I can hear something rattling. Right, what's going on back here? Okay, yeah, just as I thought. The tire came off. Didn't we screw it on? I was driving for maybe about 50 meters. Straight through the middle. And the tire, the rubber strip that we attached to this metal rim. Anyway, so what is happening with this wheel? Just as we suspected, we do have a bit of play where the struts connect to the hub. These gas struts start leaning in one direction, and they simply can't keep the wheel in place. As a result, it starts tipping to the side. I can't say I'm that surprised, to be honest. This was to be expected. The guys actually did a good job with the reinforcement, so at least the rim isn't deforming, meaning that the gas struts are doing all the dampening. Okay, so while it's all still in one piece, I think I'll just go ahead and keep driving. Now let's try going forward. Perfect. This is nice. The way it goes over bumps and potholes, it's all good. It's obviously trying to break off. And that's a wrap. Looks like we're done here. It is all over. Wasted. And right in the middle of all of this mud. As always. What happened back there? That's it. It's toast. No surprises there. With this sort of axis, I don't see how it can handle any kind of load. So there you go. In any case, it did last for about 90 meters. Good stuff. The wheel was in fact working as a damper. I say we remove it to see what exactly broke off. It'll be much easier to see once we get it out of the dirt. Right, guys, so here's what's up. So the first thing to evacuate the wheel happened to be this piece of tire that we cut to shape and slid onto the rim. We secured it using some self-tappers. A bunch of them, actually. We had more than enough in there, but they all broke off. Which makes sense given that the rubber layer was a bit oversized. This used to be a 15-inch tire. We've got a 13 on the other side. It's worth noting that we're running a welded diff in this car. And due to the difference in circumference, the rubber layer dislodged itself and eventually fell off. And the screws simply couldn't hang on. Okay, now I suggest we take a look at these gas struts. We did see a bit of play where they connect to the hub and that's the main reason this all went south. The rim started tilting relative to the hub due to all of that play. So I was driving around with the wheel completely out of whack. That resulted in excessive stress on the struts, which you can plainly see just by looking at how badly bent they are. Then again, as far as I can tell, only one of the rods is bent. Or maybe it's more than one. Whatever the case, they fell apart. But at the very least, we had a working wheel. I'd say we've proven the concept. Anyway, this experiment has been a massive success. I was able to drive on that wheel, even if it was just for 90 meters. By the way, it's great that we didn't have to drive around looking for a rough road. We've got everything we need right next to our shed. And that's all I have for you. Watch us, subscribe, send in those comments and suggestions, give us a big thumbs up. All right, catch you later.